Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is part 2 of a 2-part recap. If you're wondering where part 1 was, well, go check in the feed and be sure to subscribe.
So then Brittany is, she's like, oh my God, guys, listen, I don't even care what he was doing when we were broken up, okay? Because I was dating like 10 guys. And they're like, whoa. And Lisa goes, I'm doing none of them, right? She goes, well, yeah, because I date BYU style, which means you just kiss at the end of the date. Am I right, everybody? Do not call me slutty. I'm going to be really mad if anybody does.
So Heather's like, oh yeah, she's doing all the soaking and the docking. And then Heather explains soaking and docking for those who have not heard about it. When she describes it as it's 4th of July, you take your bun, you separate it, and then they go and they place the dog in the bun. Okay. Soaking is penetration without motion, but you can't move. And because if you do, whilst you move in the middle of a soak, it becomes sex, which is outlawed.
This is crazy. So why were you talking about that this week? Was it because of this episode?
I don't know.
You saw
I talked about it. I talked about it somewhere. I think maybe I talked about it on a podcast I was on. I definitely talked about it recently.
You talked about it with
I think
me.
It was on this. I think I talked about. Yeah, did I talk about? Was it you who I talked about? I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying to anyone. I probably told my parents. I was like, Mom, Dad, have you heard about soaking? But yeah. But I erroneously, much like Brooks Marks himself, I thought soaking was what we later found out to be jump humping, which is that you get into a soak position and then someone jumps on the bed to make it move. But it's apparently just the mere act of insertion.
So what is soaking and what's the docking part? Did she get to the docking?
That is when you only have to use one cable to do it, I think.
Docking is where you put all the penises into one vagina, and then that vagina plugs into one penis.
Yeah. No, I think that soaking and docking are the same thing.
Oh, okay. It's like a double. You soak the thing that's docking in you. Probably.
Well, it's kind of like, yeah, maybe the docking. Maybe like if you're the man, you're soaking because you're putting your dick in and you're just soaking in vagina. Whereas if you're the woman, the vagina is docking because it's attaching onto something.
I wonder if the docking is as dramatic as it is on Below Deck, where they're like, oh my God, all right, we're pulling it in. We're pulling it in. That is soaking. That is definitely soaking. All right, get a little to the left of that lip there. We're almost in. We're going to die. We're all going to die. This penis is going to die. This is a $20 million penis and we're all going to, we made it. We're in. All right, everybody, we're docked. Let's just sit here and get soaked.
Emma's on the penis. Well, that was insufferable. I'm going to have a cigarette spray. Is there smoke coming out of your vagina?
You got time to soak. All right.
Is there a deckhand that just got fired out of your vagina? It's walking away with a backpack.
Why is there an ovary riding up a mountain on a donkey? Because I told it to get the fuck out of here. That's why.
Why are there so many crates of produce going into your vagina? Oh, we're doing provisions. Provisions on the penis. Okay, if you don't watch Below Deck, you know this makes sense.
So, Heather explains, she tries to explain to the producer what it is. And she's like, well, I can't explain it. Only the good Lord can. But if you were to tell that to your religious leaders, they would say, was there thrusting? Was there pumping? Was there an orgasm? And if you could say, no, they would say, go with God, young lady. Go with God.
It's almost like Mary jumps in to Heather's talking head segment because she just tells everyone, I'm bored. Can we do something? If we sit here much longer, we just know that Heather's going to be talking to the producers about something annoying. So
I've soaked
they
before.
do their...
Have you ever done it?
I have not
very
soaked.
tired.
Well,
I mean, this is basically how I have sex, what they're describing. I just get it. Here's my job, doing the helicopter and getting it ready to go. Okay. That's the hard part for me. No pun intended. What you do with it is up to you. I just lie there. So you dock it. You can start pressing buttons like it's a remote control. Maybe it'll turn the Apple TV channels. I don't know what it's going to do, but I don't do anything. I'll tell you that much. So I've been a good Mormon this whole time.
Yeah. Look at you. Go with God. So then Heather does a whole spiel about how her great-great-great-grandfather brought potato sacks. It's like, it's not interesting, it's not funny, and it's also all fake. So whatever. They just had to pad out 2 minutes of time. So now we have a potato sack race, which is fun and it's cute and they're doing it and silly and there's fun and games and one team wins, one team loses. And then they all settle down to eat because it's also kind of like a potluck. So Angie's like, by the way, I just want to make sure everyone tried my little Greek flag number. And if you notice, there was an olive branch on it. And Melly's like, oh, I know it's rosemary, but I couldn't find an olive branch. But thank you for pointing that out, Melly.
Shut the fuck up, Bailey. So Heather goes, well, Brittany and I were talking about our biggest memories from girls' camp. And so we were wondering if you guys could share your biggest memories from girls' camp. And Brittany is like, oh, my favorite memory? Not you, Brittany. You were just already talking about it.
I know. She's like, the second day before testimony, you go into the wilderness by yourself and you sing all the Sondheim songs you can remember. And Heather's
then
like,
you
wow,
come back with a man. They interrupted this story, but you know that Brittany's like, and then that's where I met my first camp counselor that I dated. Because I don't believe Brittany has any story having to do with her doing anything alone that doesn't involve not finding a man in it. I don't believe it.
So then Angie, I love Angie here. This is such a shady question. She's like, so are you still a practicing Mormon or is that just your childhood? Angie, who just went to this freaking Sunday night Bible study thing, is like, so are you still practicing because you live such an illicit lifestyle?
I think when you're leading the choir song in your living room and you're doing the choir conducting with your fingers and you're doing the like kind of old lady in church voice where you're like, when you slow down your vibrato that much to just sound as Jesus-y as possible, you're still practicing, Angie.
Yeah. So Angie's like, does your bishop know that you drink? And because it's not against our Greek religion to drink, and we take communion, by the way. So I was super taken aback when you got upset at me for bringing a bottle of wine when we all know you're basically an alcoholic.
And Brittany's like, well, I just thought it was odd, and I felt like you just did it for show, but I wasn't meaning to shame you. In the moment, I just thought it's odd. I mean, why would she do that? And by the way, Jared and I are back together again. Okay, go ahead. Do you have any more questions?
Well, I just thought it was weird that you pointed out at a public event and then you thanked me with a text saying how beautiful the wine was. And it's just mixed messages. Do I offer you wine at my house? What do I do? And Mary just starts going, two-faced, whole thing. Two-faced.
Well, I don't think it was meant to be shaming or critical. I just think she was trying to see how she felt, and it didn't feel good. Two-faced. That's two-faced. I don't feel like it's two-faced. Oh, well, why don't we refer back to manners and etiquette then? Okay? Because just like you, Meredith, walking out of my house, that was very rude. And it was very offensive. And you ask, what about you asking people to leave? What about that, Mary? Brittany, everyone's going to get into each other's fights now.
I know. And Mary goes, I'm not talking to you. Shut up. And Mary's like, well, that's not manners. Well, you know what? I do know manners. I do know etiquette. And you walking out of my house, well, you asked me to leave and I did not feel welcomed and I was upset. And Mary's like, I didn't ask you to leave. I was talking to both of you and I was just talking to you and Angie was screaming and you were screaming and I was telling both of you to be quiet. And if you can't be quiet, you can leave. You can leave. I mean, let's not forget, I am totally on Mary's side about this. They were screaming at each other and Mary was trying to bring them together and they were ignoring her and she was trying to broker a peace and she got frustrated and she's like, if you're not gonna listen to me, then you can get the hell out of here.
Well, then bye. Then you can't get mad at me.
Yeah,
you gave me the option.
Right, but she wasn't just kicking them out. She was basically saying like shut the fuck up or you're gonna have to get out of here. And then Meredith is like, well, she was cornering me and belittled me and out of nowhere said I should leave the house. And it's like, no, it was because you were acting. She was trying to settle you guys down and you were fully ignoring her and she was the host.
So Mary's like, and you don't find that rude? And Meredith is like, well, let me put on my little crown of Brooksies. A bunch of flames going around. I could say that because I'm his mother. No, I don't think it was rude. And Angie's like, you two have a history, and that was really wrong. Greeks have history, and they do not walk out on each other. They murder each other and fling lightning bolts at each other. God, I love being Greek. I am Greek. But you also took the parting gift.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't grab the Yadro on the way out. And Braun was like, not the Yadro. I had to look that up.
What is that?
I had no idea what a Yadro was. So it's actually spelled Lladro, but it's pronounced Yadro, and it's like little figurines, like those little like gold figurines, those like tchotchke.
I like that Angie changes up her joke for each shot.
I know.
You know?
It's like on a sitcom when they do different takes, they have to change up the joke a little bit to make sure the audience still laughs.
She's a real Lisa Kudrow at that. So Meredith's like, well, I'm more happy to return the notebook if you don't want me to have it. I mean, I grabbed my stuff and it was there. I mean, it was a quite lovely notebook, so I took it. And she's like, if you don't want to address it and you think you're right, then we'll leave it at that. And when he's like, yeah, Meredith's a grudge holder for sure. She's playing the fucking Lisa game. That's what's happening.
Whitney tried to jump in and then start. Bow, 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 bow. Whitney, stop singing the What's Happening theme song. You only had to say it. You don't have to sing it too.
Don't lie. Heather, why don't you ask Bronwyn what she says about you? You lie so badly, Whitney.
And Whitney goes, wait a minute, what did I say about Heather? And Bronwyn's like, she's doing that sideways.
They are crabs in a bucket.
That tilt
the way they are pulling each other into these fights.
Shaking her hair at you as she does. She's like,
I was a little surprised. You guys were doing an event together today. Is a surprise about it. Yeah. So now Whitney jumps, just so you're paying attention because it happens so quickly. Whitney jumps in to take over the fight and then brings Lisa in. And then Lisa's like, if you're going to fight with me, I'm bringing Bronwyn in. So now we're at a totally different fight out of nowhere.
Wait a minute. What does Whitney say about me, Bronwyn? Well, she thinks you won't have your back because you'd rather be friends with Lisa. Whitney's like, well, I will tell you exactly what I said. I said tricks are for kids, but they're also sometimes for adults. I love Trix.
Trix is my best friend and has a bar in Milwaukee. And I said, you're trying to stay good with Lisa when Angie and I had problems with her at the time, and that's causing a bit of strain in our relationship. And Heather's like, but that's her feelings. I don't think that's deeply offensive. I think she always felt that way. So Whitney's basically like, hey, out of everyone, I gave Bronwyn a chance in this group, and she just threw me under the bus. And if you throw me under the bus, we're going to back it up and run you over. I'm like, yeah, but you're also the chief bus underthrower, Whitney.
Yeah.
She's just
But I mean, it just shows that Bronwyn fits right in, because I guess that's what they do, right? They hear one thing, then they go tattletale on each other, and then it does somewhat look messier with Bronwyn, because at least everyone else has kind of a side that they choose, and she's just like betraying everybody. She's like, fuck it. I'll take take the one person that really stood up for me last week and just completely throw her into the bus right now for fun,
I know. I think what actually kind of annoys me about it is that, like, the whole basis of her feud with Heather is that Bronwyn threw some light shade at Whitney, and then Heather was like, oh, I can't believe the shit that Bronwyn was saying about Whitney. And then, Bronwyn's like, no, I mean, it was just like light shade. Don't be mad at me. And it became the whole thing of this, and it was like, oh my God, Heather is turning this light shade about Whitney into such a big thing, and Heather's being like a monster about it. And then once they finally settle it, the first thing that Bronwyn does is throw shade at Whitney again. It's like, lady, why did you just do that?
Yeah. So then Angie goes, oh, yeah, that is like when you said, can anyone really be friends with Lisa? You said that on that walk with us. And she's like, that is not true. You two had told me stuff about Lisa. And I said, I don't know that version of Lisa. And if you're going to talk to me like that, don't do it while I'm in my Dino from the Flintstones costume, because it's very uncomfortable doing that on a hike.
So Angie out of nowhere comes after Bronwyn, and her take is false. I guess is she trying to sort of be on Heather's side right now? I was so confused. And yeah, Bronwyn's like, no, I said I don't know that version. And Angie's like, oh, fucked me over. Did I say Lisa fucked me over? You know what? You should borrow Meredith's hearing aids, turn them up, and hear me one more time, Bronwyn. And Bronwyn's like, I don't need Meredith's hearing aids because I got 2 right here. Let's go.
Wait a minute, that is very offensive. Making fun of my disability. We're making fun of impairments now. Wow.
You know how hard it is when you have an impairment raising a toddler. So then even Heather cracks up. Even Heather's like,
I was
wow,
dying. I was dying when Andrew said, I died when she said you need to get Meredith's ear.
It's crazy.
So, of course, Meredith is going to make it a march on the Capitol about it. I love it.
An impairment. So Bronwyn is like, this is what they said. They said, Lisa, you have come repeatedly for people, and I will see. And I said, I don't think I will see. And Lisa goes, yeah, you won't see that because you're lying right now. And Whitney's like, I am not. Don't call me a fucking liar. That's a lie, Whitney. Don't lie. And then Mary's like, wait. I was the one who started this fight. I'm coming back in. She's like, it's true. It's not true. It's true. It's not true. Now Lisa's just arguing with Mary. She was yelling at Whitney one moment, and then Mary steps in, and now she's just yelling at Mary instead.
Mary's like just so unpredictable. They should have learned a long time ago not to even fight with Mary because it never makes any sense. And Mary just comes out of nowhere, and she just berates you and then leaves. Like she literally, you can't win a fight with Mary. She doesn't use any kind of logic. She just like sits there and like just shit talks you silent, you know. And so, but they do it. You know, I can't believe Lisa. I can't believe because we've seen Lisa go through this with Mary a million times. But Meredith, I thought Meredith was smarter than this. This is not a fight you want.
Yeah.
It's time for a commercial. It's time for a Crappens commercial.
So Lisa is like, Mary, you're not around me enough. Don't make judgment calls. I don't judge you. She goes, oh, you're just a game. That's what you are. I'm a game? You don't even know me. Yeah, you will. You talk behind people's backs all the time. You're the fakest person I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, yeah, Mary, you know what? You're the fakest person that I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. So, you know what? Take that.
And Mary's like, everything that comes out of your mouth is a lie. Like, oh, I have a Milan specialist. And then you see the flashback to Lisa being like,
oh my God, you guys, like I have to talk to my shopper in Milan because they sent me all this.
Lisa goes,
oh, do you need me to call her?
What's her name then, Lisa?
Danny. Her name is Danny.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What store does she work in then?
Oh my God, you're upset that I have the same Fendi jumpsuit and I got mine from Fendi and I didn't have to get it off the rack.
Mary's like, you wore my outfit. So then Bronwyn tells us, I think fake Fendi's jumpsuit is some, did she say bitch eating crackers? I rewound it 3 times.
Yeah.
Bitch eating crackers?
Yeah, don't you know that?
Is that slang that I just don't know? I don't know about bitch eating
Look it
crackers.
up. It's so funny. It's old, but it's funny. Bitch over there eating crackers.
Mary doesn't like Lisa right now, so she's like, I wore it first, I wore it best, and I wore it on TV, and you wore it to walk around my house, which honestly is top tier shade, Mary. I'm here for it, even though I actually invented that shade right there, but that's fine. It's still really good. It was a collaboration.
So then Lisa's like, you know what? Because Mary's like, well, I don't know how anyone could be friends with you. Meredith is crazy. And you said she slept with half of New York and she's the biggest whore and she's still your friend. And
Lisa's like, Mary, you know what? Formulate your opinions with your own brain. Like, don't use like other people's brain.
Which then gets into Lisa saying, oh yeah, keep talking. You keep talking. No, you keep talking. You keep talking. No, you keep talking. You can't shut me up. Well, you keep talking. Because you know what? Keep talking so everyone can see that you're a fucking, oh, dingbat.
Yeah, Mary's like, keep dingbat.
No, you keep talking. You keep talking. You keep talking. No, don't talk to me. You don't talk to me.
You don't talk to me. What do you want? Do you want talking or no talking? What do you guys want? So then Mary's like, I don't have time. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for people starting fights with me. You started this. Mary literally started this. She's like, I don't have time for people starting fights with me. So she starts crying, basically, because she's got a lot going on.
And And Whitney's like, hey, I think we all need to chill for a second. Everyone take a deep breath and then speak clearly one at a time. I'll start. You exploited my vagina. And Meredith's like, well,
I think making fun or lying of any disability, whether it's my hearing or my knee socks, that's very wrong. It's very wrong. And I find it highly offensive. Period.
I wasn't talking about your hearing. Well, you said Meredith's hearing aid. That's me. Is it possible you didn't hear me correctly? How dare you?
And I like the see? Auntie doesn't even apologize. She just goes,
but she needs hearing aids.
Everyone wants to be all over me all the time for everything that I say. That's Bronwyn. She goes, I've been completely supportive of you. Well, listen, I am angry, so I'm going to talk from the temple of my head at you, okay? Everybody wants to be all over me for all the things that I say all the time. And she's like, no, I have been supportive of you. Well, there's been a lot of discussion about whether I'm truthful, and this is such bullshit on the heels of what just happened.
You started it too. What are you even talking about over there? And then Andrew's like,
oh my God, everybody shut the fuck up except Lisa and Mary. You should shut the fuck up too, because this had nothing to do with you, Bronwyn. She goes, oh, this is some bullshit. This is some absolute bullshit.
Angie, well, apparently Angie can talk and everyone else can shut the fuck up. So I'm going to stand up and walk away if I'm allowed to as an impaired person, Angie. And Angie's like, Bronwyn said that on the heels of that conversation. Oh, you know what, Angie? Don't keep on yelling at me. I already shut my fucking mouth for you. She's like, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to Meredith. Well, I'm not listening, so keep talking. See, and now all of a sudden I can't make impairment jokes.
And Bronwyn's like, say shut the fuck up one more time and you will never see me again. Oh, God, what a threat. And Andrew's like, Bronwyn, I've been nothing but nice to you except for telling you to shut the fuck up. So everybody gets up and Mary goes, should never have left my house. Mary's like, look what you've done.
They never even get to another event. They just all stand up and like, we're going home. So now this would normally be fucking
crazy. I love this show. It's so nuts.
It's crazy. And then we now are going to go to a Shabbat dinner. So it's a day later. We're at Meredith's house. People are showing up. It's like a whole new episode has begun. And Meredith is like, well, after a day of camping, I now know why they call it roughing it. It was a very rough day, and I'm excited to have a smaller group of my friends over for Shabbat and have a lovely, peaceful dinner for once.
Which is basically the entire cast except for Mary and Whitney, right?
And Angie.
And Angie, right. So everybody starts arriving. Bronwyn and Todd arrive. And Bron was like, well, we dressed for Shabbat. I Googled it and I dressed up for Shabbat. Yeah, I Googled it and I Googled what do a bunch of scarves look like on a coat rack? And then I married it.
So Bronwyn introduces Britt to Todd, and Brittany's like, she's like, hi, I've heard almost nothing about you, but it was very lovely to meet you. And Bronwyn goes, oh my God, my butthole is so clenched right now.
Not mine. Mine's looser than a goose. Am I talking out loud?
I could buy and sell 10 Donny Osmonds. Get out of my way, lady. So then, and then Heather goes up to Chloe, and Heather's like, hi, Chloe. Chloe's like, hi. So look over there. That's Bronwyn and her husband, Alan. She keeps calling Todd Alan.
And she goes, I don't know her. Chloe's so funny. She's like, I've never met her. So then it cuts to drunk Seth talking to Jared Osmond. And he's like, Jews drink and we're encouraged to have wine to celebrate life, And the Mormons, they're shunned if they do that. And now that's a flaw in the business model, huh?
Jared's like, yeah, but on the other hand, liberal tears, am I right? So Chloe's like, hey, Heather, did you go on a mission and then go to BYU? And Heather's like, no, I graduated BYU and then I went on a mission. Oh, so do you know what soaking is, Brooks? Brooks, get over here, Brooks. Do you know what soaking is?
He's like, yeah,
But I heard it's a myth.
It's not a myth, but jump humping is a myth. What's jump humping?
That's when you're docking or soaking and someone jumps on the bed so that there's motion without you exerting any energy. Wait a minute. I thought that's what soaking was.
Yeah, that's like toad soaking. I'm pretty sure that's soaking.
No, soaking is like a dog in a bun. And Chloe's like, oh my God, that sounds terrible.
And there's like, yeah, I've never seen, nor have I participated in jump humping, but I definitely have soaked. I've soaked. I did it in a bolero jacket.
Well, we have diamond-shaped coffee ice cubes, so that's something.
I know Meredith just announcing this, and Heather just pushes past her and is like, "Hi, Bronwyn, you look gorgeous." And so she basically meets Todd for the first time. He's like, "Hi, how are you, lady? You look like you're soaking wet right now. Oh, if only you knew what we were just talking about. Oh, anyway, wow, firm grip, a strong handshake. I love a strong handshake." And Todd just like looks at the camera like, who is this crazy lady talking to me right now?
So then Lisa and John come and they all sit down and Meredith gives a speech. She's like, well, thank you for all coming. Shabbat Shalom, sunrise, sunset, if I were a rich man. I'm just so excited to have everyone in my home. Tradition for what I feel like is a very special Shabbat Yenta Shabbat dinner. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm embracing Judaism and musicals, and my bat mitzvah is getting closer than ever, which is a different musical. I don't think very Jewish, but still, it's a musical.
So I'm going to light the candles right now because, you know, traditions are important, and I would like to welcome my children to do the prayer with me. And Chloe and Brooks doing the prayer in their monotone over it voice is just like, it's just the best shit. They're like, Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam.
Be nice to Chappell. She'll yell at you.
Goffen. Just like they're so like but they're into it. The funny thing is they're actually into it, but like they being into something and they being bored, it's the exact same voice.
There's no code switching.
All right, everyone.
You know what I mean? That's just them at all times. It's so fucking funny. And also something that made me like Brooks even more was he went to the oven and he'd made challah. He made that. He pulled it out. I mean, Brooks makes bread. He makes
challah.
That's crazy.
It's wild.
That skinny little twink is like into making bread. I just love that.
Well, no, because he's trying to like, he's like moving out of twinkdom into more like buff WeHo. So he's clearly had to like take on some like carbs and stuff. So Jared then drops a bomb. He's like, well, my family is part Jewish. I was like, what? Jared Osmond's part Jewish? No. So he has a bunch of aunts and uncles that are Jewish. And then it turns out John Barlow is also partially Jewish because Lisa was playing around on Ancestry.com and found this out, and she talks about like, yeah, John thought he was just going to find out about his roots, but then I found out all this information. I called this person and that person and that person, and I found out he's actually like third cousins with like Topol. And then John's like, yeah, it was like really traumatizing. And Bronwyn's like, wow, Lisa, this is like a part-time job for you. John, my child, you're just everywhere. I was like, oh gosh, Bronwyn.
She's trying it. It's
just such an awkward thing to say.
She's trying it. And she's like, no, that was Kismet. That was Kismet.
Well, that's another musical. Thank you for the support, Lisa. Really.
Well, I've got something to say about Ancestry. Okay. It's interesting. When Bronwyn and I started dating, I went to the original Ancestry, the NSA, and I said, give me a background check on this lady. She laughed at all my Palm Pilot jokes, and I'm suspicious of her. No one laughs at those. Look into her. And she was fine.
Ancestry.com, or as I call them, the U.S. fucking government. I made Palm Pilots, bitch.
Like, congrats, Todd. Jeez. And everyone's just like shocked into silence. Like, wow. And what does that have to do with Ancestry again? And he's just folding his arms.
Like, yeah, I told these motherfuckers I'm connected to the NSA.
Yeah, and also like why is the NSA using our government dollars to do background checks on Bronwyn? I mean, I support it because I think it's so campy that I appreciate our government doing campy things, but like you really probably should be doing other things rather than taking requests from private citizens to do background checks.
And Heather's like, I mean, so then they start talking about the party, right? Dun, 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 dun. Heather's like, full background check. Mm-hmm. That's not the thing of fairy tales that a girl dreams to hear about or to be announced to her friends. Maybe a cursory Google search, sure. So now they start. Oh, Heather goes, well, I hope the BYU expulsion came up. And he's like, oh, it came up all right.
So then Lisa's like, so Heather, what did you do today? She's like, well, I cried into my pillow after my camping failure yesterday. It was horrifying. And Lisa's like, yeah, we really wrecked it because we all decided to scream at each other at once. And Bronwyn's like, well, here's how I see it. Angie got really feisty with me because I was saying something that she didn't want the two of you to hear me say, which, by the way, I don't even remember. I still don't know why Angie was mad, but like, whatever. I'll just go with it at this point.
I don't remember.
Like, what did Bronwyn say that
had
Angie
a reason
didn't want to hear?
really be mad.
I don't know.
They just all
were
kept
all
jumping on
in.
each other. Yeah, it was just like a lazy Susan of anger, It's just like everybody just taking something.Ey're like, here we are, we're at work, let's fight about some shit in a circle, So then Heather's like, well, I totally understand, but it's normal and natural for friends to talk shit behind each other's backs, but why do you have to throw them under the bus? And Bronwyn's like, well, I think that there's a place where you want to be a friend, and at some point everybody talks about everybody, but you're in a good place with them, and it's funny and cheeky and sassy, but then when you're not, it's offensive and hurtful, right? I mean, I'm not mistake-free. I can be a real snarky cut fitness, for sure. And Todd goes,
don't say that. Do not say that.
Hey, I'm going to call up the NSA and do another background check on my wife to see if she was ever a sailor with that mouth. Jeez. So Bronwyn she's like, well, at some point you guys will realize whether you like it or not. Whatever I say, you may not like it, but it's never been untrue. And like Bronwyn, I feel like Bronwyn's being really extra at this Shabbat. Like no one else is. She's just like in a different like temperature than the rest of the room, and they're like, okay,
yeah, she's like, she's trying,
like,
she's still auditioning too hard. Like she's coming in and she's trying to start a war at every episode, and it's like, you just spent the last episode sobbing that everybody's trying to start wars with you, and then everyone's being nice to you, and now you're trying to restart wars with new people. Like, just chill, okay? Your job is secure. Yeah. You're fine. You're doing fine.
She's doing a great job. She's been doing a great job all season. This was the first episode where I felt like she was actually a little off. So Meredith is like, Lisa's like, by the way, Mary crossed the line yesterday, and I don't think that I don't like the way she's treating you, Meredith. And Meredith's like, well, with everything with Mary, I'm really upset. I mean, do you know how long I had to stare at that tiger photograph and pretend to like it? It was awkward. And the small talk with the girl behind the desk was terrible. So I don't know where things will end. And I don't know what to say. I stood by her and I supported her. And now I'm seeing a side that I didn't really know. I'm like, did you not watch this TV show? This is like the most obvious side of Mary you could find.
But then everyone starts, so maybe something's going on with Mary. Maybe something is going on. And Brittany's like, oh, guys, ding, 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 ding. Jared just took a dinner roll, which I think means he's asked me to have his children. Thank you, Jared. Probably. The answer is probably. Oh, also, maybe we should give Mary some grace, because maybe something's going on with Mary. Dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. So then we get a very ham-handed entry into a serious scene about a child, because it's like serious music, a church bell, children playing in the echoes, a scooter falling over in the street with the wheels still spinning. I was like, Jesus, did somebody get kidnapped?
But we know what this is going towards, because we've all seen previews and everything. So this is like a pretty gut-wrenching scene. Probably don't really have to get into it too granularly, but basically Mary goes up to finally have this conversation with Robert. And, you're kind of expecting him to say the same thing, like, no, I'm fine. But he just kind of comes out with it. He's like, yeah, I'm doing Xanax, and I take an Adderall to deal with the Xanax, and then I do Xanax with cocaine, and I do it with Molly, and does it with like, he's taking Oxy. I mean, it's like he is, he's gone down a path, and Mary, like, her heart is breaking hearing all this and really being confronted with this. And it is gut wrenching to watch.
Just the whole setup was bizarre. First of all, he seemed kind of lucid, which was odd because he seemed not so. And I mean, as the scene went on, his eyes were still kind of opening and closing really slowly and stuff. Yeah. But it was just an odd scene. The whole setup was weird. It was like, okay, we're just going to have this talk. And she's like, you're going to tell me. And she just like sat there and just waited and waited. And then finally he did. And he just kept, I mean, once he opened up, it was like he wasn't even really nervous. He was just like, okay. And then he told a little bit and she's like, okay. And then he just kept, everything he said got worse and worse, as he went. And then she just started sobbing and basically saying like, he said, you're going to die. She's like, you're going to die. Mm-hmm. Do you even see that this is a problem? And he just kind of stared at her like, no. And then he finally said, I've wanted to die. And I feel like a stain, which is just,
it was.
Oh my God!
That was like a dagger. And he at one point also said that he felt like life was like unseasoned chicken, and getting high was like his way of adding seasoning, which I was like, it was pretty profound. But also
that's
very, very
the biggest
sad.
part of drug addiction. And you know what? That's the hardest thing coming out of addiction that people really don't understand. Like sometimes you want to make all these really deep statements about it, but a lot of times it is like life is boring and life is painful and life is boring. And when you're trying to sober up, you're like, but this is boring. And that's the hardest thing, is that it is boring. And part of it is like learning to deal with it and doing things that aren't getting fucked up. That is one of the like basic things. And it's painful listening to his pain, but also mixing with that like realization that life is just kind of lame sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it's not always fun.
And he says that he wanted to die, and she was like, do you realize like what that would do to me? And he says, you're the only reason why I didn't kill myself, which is just like, oof. But also, I don't know, I feel like in some way that's like maybe slightly reassuring. Like I'm still like, he's still in it for me, a little bit. I'm still getting through to him on some level. And she's basically like, I love you more than anything in this world, you're my friend, you're my son, you're my gift. God gave me to you. You're the only thing that could ever make me happy. And before you, I was never really happy, but then you came in and you were so real, and you were just like everything I hoped for in a person. It was like really such a touching, like mother to a son moment, like a mother trying to reach out and save her son. But she's also like, I'm not going to judge you, but like, I'm not going to support this. And like, you're going to have to help yourself, and I'm going to support you to help yourself. But I can only do so much. And, God, I really hope that she is able to make an impact on him and move, get him the help that he needs, because it's tragic. And she's really, I think, actually fortunate that she was kind of able to catch him before it was too late, just in terms of anything. And, it's really made me empathetic to so many parents that deal with this with their children, and it's a terrible situation to be in.
Yep. And it's so widespread, it's really everywhere. It's crazy. And a lot of stuff, we see on the streets, and people like trying to figure out what is going on. And like, you have to be so like, you really can't talk about anything real. You know what I mean? And because it seems like it's blaming or it's shaming or like addiction is a disease. And it is. I'm not saying that it's not, but it's bad. I mean, all you have to do is look around the cities to see. And I'm not saying it's not happening in small towns. I'm just saying it's so evident in big cities where you see tent cities everywhere. You see basically a hellscape out there. It's not good. It's really, really widespread. It's getting worse and worse. And I think it's pretty brave to put it on TV so boldly like this, because we've never seen this.
We've never seen this. We've seen addiction, but we've never seen it talked about like this, where someone's just like, here's what I do, like listing what they do. I wanted to die. I wanted, it's pretty crazy to see it put on TV like this. And it's eye opening. I mean, I'm grateful that this shit's on TV, and people stop being such fucking wusses about it and talk about it with your family and talk about it with your friends that you see this shit happening with, because not talking about it doesn't help them. It's not helping them.
Yeah, I think
they need to be talked to about it.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I think about Lori Waring and her son, who recently passed, actually, but she definitely dealt with it with him as well. But I don't feel like I don't seem to remember on The Real Housewives the scene where the kid was really kind of this upfront with this is what I'm doing, this is what I felt, this is what I almost did to myself, this is where I'm at right now, and it's it was very, very raw. It was pretty intense. I'm not sure Mary even was expecting the conversation to go in that direction, but I'm glad she did. I'm really glad that she stepped in, and I'm also glad that she said, you know what, you live a blessed life, and there are people who don't get to wake up, and you get to wake up, and you have to remember that, but
addiction doesn't give a fuck how much money you have.
I was about to say
how blessed you are. Poor everyone. When you see a lot of addicts, when it's the most obvious, it's when you see it on the street or when it's trying to wash your windshield or something like that. And it's easy to think, oh, it's just for people that aren't like me. No, those were people like you a lot of the times. They were people like you, and that they're currently not. But it's easy to think it's over there, it's on that side, but it happens to everybody. I mean, probably all of us have this in our family in some way, in some strain. We probably all have it in our friend or our family group. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy to see. It's depressing to end a fucking thing like this. Not that it's about me, but it's to end a Housewives episode on the holiday with this depressing shit. But it is important, and it was really well done. I really appreciated it and how they handled it.
And it ended on an uplifting note because, he actually says, I just barely started being happy again, which is sort of an optimistic note,
Well, didn't that kind of allude to him being on drugs, though? I took that as him saying, I'm just recently happy again because he's been using so heavily. I took that as him saying, I'm feeling happy because I'm using, because he was saying when I'm not using, life is boring, but now I'm finally happy. It's almost because she keeps saying, are you going to stop this? Do you see this as a problem? And he doesn't say yes. He just stares at her. Mm-hmm. And then so when she says you need to be happy, and he's saying well, yeah, but I just started being happy again. It's scary. I didn't find that optimistic at all. I thought, oh, well, shit. Well, because he's basically saying, but this is me being happy. Well,
that wasn't the line but what was mainly, he says that they, just started barely feeling happy again, and she's just like, listen, recognize it, own it, change it, because you can. And they hug. So the optimistic part of it was that they were able to start having the conversation, and they did sort of have a big breakthrough moment. And she said that she was going to, it was it ultimately wound up being a really nice mother-son moment. We don't know how much of it's going to stick, how much of it was really going to help, but it leaves on a note of she finally was able to connect with her son, who she's been sort of disconnected from this entire time. And we just have to hope that connection continues onwards.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So we'll see.
It's crazy.
But it's very very powerful way to end. But the episode, it's about family, and that's what Thanksgiving sometimes can be about. And so, in its own sad way, it was appropriate for the holidays. And anyway, Salt Lake City was we just showed New York who can do the traumatic thing, right? So anyway, I hope everyone has
I'm watching that one next. So wish me luck over here. Cheese and crackers.
Yeah, have fun with that. So, everyone, hope you all have a wonderful holiday weekend, and we will catch you next week with more shows. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Watch What Crappens would like to thank its premium sponsors. Ain't no thing like Allison King. It's always automatic with Ashley Auto.
Ashley Savoni, she don't take no baloney.
Put your hands together for Carly Clapp.
Get on the right foot with Chrissy Offutt. Dana C. Dana Do.
Aaron McNicholas, she don't miss no trickolas. Jamie, she has no last namey. You'll never hide from Heidi Eleanor Jones.
Hava Nagila Weber. Know Your Worth with Jason Kurth.
Sip some scotch with Jessica Trotch.
She's our favorite streamer, Caroline Peacock.
Kristen the Piston Anderson.
Rigging the Funk, it's Leslie Plunkett.
She gets an A from us, it's Lindsay D. Let's give a kisserino to Lisa Lino.
Always killing it, it's Lola Alkalani.
We love her on the rocks, it's Melissa Cox. Megan Berg. You can't have a burger without the Berg.
Have a heck of a time with Rebecca.
The highest tally, it's Sarah McNally.
Cast a spell with Shannon Spellman. The Bay Area Betches.
And our super premium sponsors.
Somebody get us 10 cc's of Betsy MD.
We're taking the gold with Brenda Silva.
Let's get real with Caitlin O'Neill.
Don't get salty with Christine Pepper. Can't have a meal without the Emily Sides.
Nobody holds a candle to Jamie Kendall. We got our wish, it's Jen Plish.
She's not harsh, she's Jill Hirsch.
She's a little bit loony. Junie. My favorite Murdo, Karen McMurdo. We love him madly, it's Kyle Pod Shadley.
Let's go on a bender with Lauren Fender.
She's a whiz, it's Liz Sarthy.
The incredible edible Matthews sisters. She eases our woes, it's Melissa St. Rose.
Give him hell, Miss Noel. Ring that bell for Rachel. She's the queen bee, it's Sarah Lemke. Shannon, out of a cannon, Anthony. Let's take off with Tamla Plain.
She ain't no shrinking Violet Kuchar. We love you guys.